Have you ever been really thirsty and desperately wanted a drink of water? At one time or another, you've probably been very hot. Or maybe you've experienced extremely cold temperatures. Perhaps you've been in a strong wind that felt like it was going to blow you over. If you've ever had any of these experiences, you have a sense of the extreme conditions that plants and animals must deal with in the desert. What makes a desert a desert? What are some of the basic characteristics of deserts? And how do living things survive in deserts? During the next few minutes, we're going to answer these questions and others as we explore desert biomes. As you know, not all places on Earth look the same. Some places are dominated by forest, others consist of tundra, and some are deserts. These are a few examples of different Earth biomes. A biome is a large region characterized by its climate and the plants and animals that live there. Biomes differ from each other in many ways. The most significant difference is climate. When you compare the lush, green, deciduous forest biome to this sparse desert biome, you can quickly notice how different they are from one another. You compare. What's the major difference in climate between the deciduous forest biome and the desert biome? The major difference is that the deciduous forest receives a lot more precipitation or water than the desert biome. In fact, deserts receive less than 25 centimeters of rain a year, whereas this deciduous forest in Vermont receives about 100 centimeters of precipitation a year. A tropical rainforest receives about 4 times that amount. Generally speaking, we tend to think of deserts as being hot. For example, Death Valley in Southern California is one of the hottest places on Earth, once recording a high temperature of 134 degrees Fahrenheit. That's 57 degrees Celsius. While deserts are dry, they're not always hot. For example, the high desert country of Arizona and Utah can be very cold during fall, winter, and spring. And even though many deserts are hot during the day, they can be quite cold at night. Generally speaking, deserts are also relatively dry, and precipitation is unpredictable and irregular. In some deserts, for example, it may not rain for years. The amount of water that evaporates in deserts far exceeds the amount of water that falls as precipitation. In Death Valley, for example, the average evaporation rate is approximately 325 centimeters of water per year, but average rainfall is only about 5 centimeters per year. Therefore, lakes, rivers, and streams in deserts rarely exist year-round and dry up quickly. You may not realize it, but deserts cover about 1/5 of Earth's surface. Most deserts are located between 30 degrees north and 30 degrees south latitude. The largest deserts tend to be located in the interior of continents, far away from moist oceans. The largest desert in the world, the Sahara Desert in Africa, is 9 million square kilometers in size. The Gobi Desert in China and Mongolia, the world's second largest desert, has very cold winters and hot summers. North America also has several deserts. The Mojave Desert spans Southern California, Nevada, and Arizona. Death Valley National Park is located in the Mojave Desert. The Sonoran Desert is located in California, Mexico, and Arizona. Organ Pipe Cactus National Park and Saguaro National Park are located in the Sonoran Desert. And the Chihuahuan Desert is located in northern Mexico and Texas. The Great Basin Desert, the highest in elevation and northernmost of these deserts, has very cold winters. Deserts vary greatly in the amount of moisture they receive, overall temperature, and soil type. When you think of desert soils, you probably imagine them to be sandy. You decide. Are all deserts sandy? While some deserts do have a lot of sand, most do not. In fact, the soils of some deserts, if provided enough water, can give rise to beautiful displays of flowers and can even support fruits and vegetables. But in some cases, a hard layer of soil and pebbles, referred to as desert pavement, makes the growth of new plants difficult. Some desert surfaces are coated with salt and other minerals, making life difficult for most plants and animals. Imagine being a settler in the mid-1800s, traveling with horse and wagon across the scorched landscape here in Death Valley. This desert received its name because with little or no water and intense heat, many settlers lost their lives here. In spite of these harsh conditions, some plants and animals survive and even thrive in deserts. What general adaptations do living things in the desert possess that enable them to live in such heat with little or no water? As you know, an adaptation is a characteristic a living thing possesses that enables it to survive and reproduce in its environment. Living things in the desert have many specific adaptations, which we'll discuss in a minute. Generally speaking, their adaptations have two general themes. First, because there's so little water in the desert, living things possess adaptations to conserve water. And second, living things have adaptations that enable them to thrive in or escape the heat. Let's see how some of these adaptations work in desert plants. You compare. What's the major difference between this maple tree in New England and this cactus in Arizona? The maple tree has leaves, whereas the cactus has needles. Many desert plants, such as cacti, have needles rather than leaves. This is because leaves lose a lot of water. Needles lose less water than broad leaves because they have less surface area. Some desert plants do possess leaves, but these leaves have a waxy coating, which prevents water loss. And some leafy plants, such as the mesquite plant and creosote bush, drop their leaves to survive in a dormant state during long dry spells. Some desert plants have roots 10 times the height of a person, enabling them to reach far into the earth to tap deep groundwater sources. Other plants, such as the saguaro cactus, can store dozens of liters of water, like a giant water bottle, gradually using it as needed. These are just a few examples of the many adaptations of desert plants. A large animal, such as this coyote, must overcome many challenges to survive in the desert. Not only does it need to stay cool, but it needs to find food and sources of water. Most animals that live in the desert get the majority of the water they need by eating other things that contain water, rather than actively drinking water. For example, these pig-like animals called javelinas obtain most of their water by eating cactus plants that contain water. To help retain water, reptiles such as snakes and lizards have thick body coverings and scales which prevent water loss. Many animals try to escape the heat by only traveling at night when temperatures are cooler. In hotter daylight hours, they take refuge in underground burrows or seek shade. These are just a few of the ways that animals adapt to the hot, dry desert biome. During the past few minutes, we've explored some of the fascinating features of desert biomes. We discussed the influence that climate has on deserts and the fact that deserts receive less than 25 centimeters of rain per year. While deserts tend to be hot, some deserts can be quite cold at night and during certain times of the year. We also highlighted some of the places that deserts can be found throughout the world. And we explained some of the adaptations desert plants and animals possess to help them obtain water and cope with the heat. So, the next time you visit a desert or see a picture of a desert, think about some of the things we've discussed during the past few minutes. You just might think about deserts and their inhabitants a little differently. Fill in the correct word to complete the sentence. Good luck, and let's get started. Number 1. A biome is a region characterized by a specific Number 2. Deserts tend to have a very climate. Number 3. Living things in the desert possess adaptations to obtain. Number 4. To help conserve water, cacti possess instead of leaves. And number 5. To avoid the heat, many desert animals travel at